I need a break. It's so beautiful here. No, don't shoot. It wasn't going to attack. Juliana, what are you doing here? I told you these grounds aren't safe. I'm sorry. Let's go. Juliana is a biologist, and she has been working on a foreign project in Duristan as part of the BII Research Foundation. But all this merit goes to Professor Cole Jackson, her boss. Without him, Juliana would have never reached this point in her life. Juliana belongs to a middle-class family. And although she is a brilliant student and got a scholarship to BII, it wasn't anywhere near enough to complete her studies. It was only under the recommendation and funding of Professor Jackson that she was able to join this project as his assistant. Juliana knows she is competent and capable of her post, but that isn't the only reason she got so much preference from Professor Jackson. All this is because he probably had some other expectation from her, and she feels indebted to him, even if she doesn't want their relationship to progress more than it ever has been. Returning back to her tent that night, Professor Jackson, of course, scolded her for her actions. Like always. But then he calmed down and said to her, "Now sleep well. Tomorrow we have been invited by the royal family, the Zubbles. I want you to dress your best. Treat them with courtesy, but maintain your distance from them. And don't be alone with any one of them. There are many things you don't understand, and these families have many secrets." "Yes, Professor." In all these years working for Professor Jackson, Juliana has always felt overlooked, and she feels like she is only there to compliment him, and nothing of her own. But there is nothing Juliana can do about it. The next evening, while Juliana was preparing herself, Professor Jackson came to visit her. "Are you ready?" "Yes." "No, don't dress formal like a doctor. Wear this. It's a royal gathering." Without much choice, Juliana wore the red dress. They arrived at the Zebul Palace around 7 p.m. And Professor Jackson introduced her to the royal family. But listening to him brag about himself to the king, Juliana was fed up. Finding an opportunity, Juliana went out to the garden and took a seat to calm herself. Isn't he a little old for you? Excuse me? Juliana turned to see a young man staring at her. As he sat down beside her, sorry, should be minding my own business, but I couldn't help it. We're not together. He's my professor, and my boss. I work for him. Well, he treats you like he owns you? It's not like that. The man chuckled as he looked behind Juliana. There he comes. If it's really not like that, then he's not going to get angry at you now. What? With that, the young man walked off. And Juliana turned to see Professor Jackson. What are you doing out here? I told you not to be alone. My head was hurting, so I thought And what were you talking about with him? Nothing. Don't keep things from me, Juliana. You don't know these people. You don't know what they're capable of. Many rumors go around in this village about this family. Don't be deceived by what you see. Stay put, be by my side, and do as I say. Listening to Professor Jackson, Juliana suddenly felt her anger overtake her. For the first time, she spoke back to him. Why? Why should I do as you say? You don't own me, and I'm not here for you to show off. Juliana, where is this coming from? You're asking me? You treat me like I'm your property, and I'm done with it. Oh, I see. That's how you see it. Then perhaps you should return. As Professor Jackson fell quiet and simply left, Juliana froze. What did I just do? Why did I behave like that? It was a quiet drive home. And the next morning, Juliana got a call from Professor Jackson. Miss Juliana, Professor Jackson has called you. Professor, I really wanted to talk to you about last night. There's no need for any explanation. Here are your release papers. You can take the flight today evening. What? No, please, Professor, don't do this. I don't know what got into me last night. I didn't mean what I said. It's fine, old Juliana. You may leave. No matter what, Juliana couldn't convince Professor Jackson otherwise. She was left with no choice but to pack up and leave. And now, she is waiting for her flight back home. Juliana was startled as the young man from the palace took a seat beside her. You? Are you following me? Who are you really? First, we didn't get to finish up last night. How are things with your husband? I told you he's not my husband. so you know who I'm talking about. Just stop it. Because of you, my whole life's work is ruined. Me? Yes, I was kicked off the project. If not anything, he brought me to where I am, or was, and now I have nothing. The young man smiled as he said, I see. How about I make it up to you? What? A cup of coffee? Like that's going to make up for it. Do you even realize what I lost? Let me introduce myself to you. I am Duri Zubul, the Prince of Duristan, the heir to the throne of the king, Bor Zubul. Oh, Your Highness. Just call me Duri. That evening, everything changed for Juliana. All of a sudden, she was a royal guest, from the tent to a chamber in the palace. For the next couple of days, Duri showed her around the kingdom. To say, this was the beginning of their relationship. Both had grown a sort of fondness for each other. And in all this, Duri even had the king speak with Professor Jackson to take Juliana back. I insist, you take her into your project. She's a brilliant mind. Yes, of course. And reluctantly, Professor Jackson had to take her back into the project. On the other hand, Juliana became close with the royal family. The king and queen were very eloquent and kind people. But as for Duri's sister, Natasha, there was something strange about her. It seemed she wasn't very fond of Juliana. It was one night in the palace. Juliana overheard her and Duri talking. Have you gone mad? You're going to propose to her? What is your problem, Natasha? Why can't you just be happy for me? Because this isn't just about you. This is about all of us. How can you trust and bring her here? She's not like the rest of them. And how do you know? You're nothing but gullible. She'll give us up just like that. I know what I'm doing, and I'm not a child anymore. He's planning to propose to me? Does he expect me to stay with him in Duristan forever? As Duri turned, Juliana quickly got into bed. Is everything all right? Yes, it's fine. Duri, if you don't mind, can I ask you something? What is it? I don't think your family, or maybe Natasha, really likes me. Don't worry about her. This is about me and you, not anyone else. There's actually something I've been wanting to ask you. What is it? Come with me. I love you, Juliana. And before we take this any further, I need to know, do you truly love me? Of course I do. What can you sacrifice for me? Everything, Duri. Then Juliana, will you be my wife? Juliana was happier than ever when Duri proposed, and of course she said yes. Though Natasha didn't seem happy, the king and queen obliged with what their son wanted. It was about a week before the marriage, however. Professor Jackson came to meet her. He was returning back home. "Come back with me. Let's go back. Juliana, they're not what they seem. People of this village are afraid of this family. There's a reason behind it. Many even say they aren't human." "I know, Professor. You're keeping me in this project against your will because of the royal family, but that doesn't justify you slandering them. Juliana, you don't know what you've gotten yourself involved in. At least keep this with you." "And don't let anyone know about this." The night before the marriage, Juliana was feeling anxious. "Are you all right?" "Just a little overwhelmed about tomorrow." "Don't worry. There's something I need to show you." Juliana followed Duri outside the palace. "Where are we going?" But Duri simply walked on, behind the palace towards the forest. In the distance, Juliana could see the Queen and Natasha. "Duri, what is going on?" As Duri joined them, Juliana stood confused. "What are we waiting for?" Within a while, Juliana began to hear a rustle from the trees. She saw a black wolf come out, biting onto something. It was the cadaver of a human being. "Duri, what is happening?" The Queen then announced, "Join the king." Within moments, right before her eyes, the Queen transformed into a wolf herself. And then Natasha. About 300 years ago, the Zubbles ruled over the people of Duristan. And there was peace, law, and order in this village. However, when a strange plague hit their village, chaos began. The Zubbles locked up the palace to secure the royal family, but what they didn't know was that the plague had already entered within the palace walls. And when the Queen fell ill, Boar Zubble was devastated. He couldn't accept the death of his wife and his 2 children, and he tried everything to find a cure. Alas, going to the town healer. This plague will not spare anyone, be he young or old, be he rich or poor. How can we survive? There is only one way, immortality, but eternal life comes with its price. What do we have to do? Feast on the dead and live forever as a ghoul. In that desperate situation, Boar Zubble did as told. feasting on the dead to enjoy life eternal. Juliana stumbled back in fear as all of Professor Jackson's words flashed before her eyes. As she tried to run, she fell. Dewey turned to her, stooping down as he put forth his hand. "Join us."
That wolf. It was you. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.